Right, we're going to continue the ripping and tearing and shredding in the superhero kind of Marvel section here. So we're going to return to the Hulk, and rather than bashing through a panel, we're going to rip the clothes as the word Hulk expands, right? So you've just seen it in the intro. You can see it here. Look, some really nice tearing effects of this cloth coming off as this word is being expanded. So let's jump straight into a new scene and I'll show you how you do this. Right, in a new scene, let's go to text. Let's add some text. Let's put in, let's just type in the word Hulk. Let's do it in uppercase. There we go. And let's choose a font, which I'll include this font actually because it's a free download that I found, but it's really good for this. It's where is it? I can never find them. It's called Astound Squared. There we go. So it looks very sort of cartoony sort of look, doesn't it? Anyway, so let's go for that. Let's go a little bit wider, just so it's got a little bit more kind of thickness to the Hulk. And have we got a bold? Here we go. Let's go bold. So it's really nice and chunky. There we go. Yeah, I'll include this below, plus all of these scene files for this original with all of these textures, everything in this scene that will all be included as a download below, with some sound effects and the fonts as well, like this. So you can have it all as a pack. Right, so let's get on the tutorial. So this one, if we go to ground shading with lines, we'll see that there are no lines on here. It's not very good even topography or anything, so it's not going to expand or work. So what we do is we need to put this through a volume mesher, a volume builder, and a remesh. So let's just grab all those. So what we do is we put the builder under the mesher as a child, we put the text under the builder as a child, and we go back to builder and we bring the voxels down to say 1. So we bring our word back, and then we drop all of this under the remesh. Then we have to wait about 30 seconds, I would have thought. If you want to see how long, if you go in this corner here, look, you can click on that and it shows you how long your progress is. So you'll see how long it's going to take there. Right, so that's fairly quick, that's done. But the mesh is still too tight. So if we go on remesh, we can drop this down to say 25%. And just again, let's wait another few seconds for this to calculate. Yeah, we don't want a really tight mesh for this. It will be fine. We want that, something like this. That's not bad. Let's just make sure. We've got a few little glitches here, which we need to iron out. Just trying to understand it. Maybe, yeah, if we put a smooth in here, that might do it. Yeah, I mean, that's not too bad. It's reworked out the mesh. We've put the smooth in there. It's nicely dealt with. Even topography, that's what you're looking for. These even squares all across the whole word. And then it can inflate evenly across the whole character, you see. Okay, now we've got this nice even mesh. What we can do with here is we can right click and say current state to object. Okay, and we can hide the original, and now we've got our new mesh that we've just made here, and let's call that Hulk. Okay, so that's our text. Now I've just noticed as well that the axis point is right in this corner. It'd be quite nice to have it in the center of the word. So what we can do is go to tools, go to axis, and then go center axis 2, and then it should jump to the center now, and it's re-centered it all. Okay, so we've now got that. We now need to have the close part of this, which will rip. So we make a copy of this, and then we call this one close. Okay, so we're going to work on 2 parts of this. So let's turn off the close for now, and let's work on the Hulk. So this is the bit that's going to expand over time. So let's drop on some cloth dynamics. Actually, let's go straight to balloon, because we need the balloon to be activated, and we need the surface to be activated, and we need to change a few things on here. So for this to expand, we can either just have it expand, which I'll just put in, let's just put in some figures and just see, and we want the target length to go up a little bit as well. the mass, let's put that back at 1. Let's have a look at balloon. Let's just try 5 initially and have it happen over a longer time, like 90 frames. And let's also turn off the the gravity, so it doesn't float out of the scene. Okay, and also let's look at mix animation and let's pin it. Now if we pin it at this point, before the vertex maps what we're going to use, it may not work. Okay, let's turn the pin off for now, we'll add that on in a second. So at the moment, let's just see what we get. Okay, so we get it inflating up, that sort of ballooning up into this nice word. Well, it's actually it's expanding so much you can hardly tell what it says now. Okay, there it goes again. So we could probably control this a bit better. So in the new version of Cinema Balloon, we've got this control here for map, right? So it's asking for vertex map. So we can now say we're going to control this in a certain inflation by adding in a vertex map. So let's go to that. Right click on Hulk, go to other tags, vertex map, it goes red. We now need to influence this with a field. So we click on the vertex map and say use fields, and let's drop in a spherical field. Okay, let's make it a bit smaller. Let's say about, sorry, that's the blending. We need the actual size of it here, size. So we want to drop that down. Let's go back to vertex map so you can see it, and let's bring that field out here. Right, so a little patch on there where it's going to influence the inflation. And let's have a look at this offset as well. Let's try and make that. It wants to be quite a smooth. You don't want to be really harsh. It doesn't want to just suddenly come on. It wants to be kind of a nice smooth blend onto here. Right, so we've got the vertex map. We can now influence that now on the cloth tag by dropping that into these areas. So it's going to look at the vertex map now, and it will use it to control how it inflates this material. Okay, now we can also now turn on mix animation and influence that with this as well. So it's basically going to stay in the scene and it's not going to expand until the vertex map starts to do it. So let's see what happens now. Right, so we're getting quite a lot of things jumping and exploding because we've got things a little bit too harsh at the moment. We need to have this calm down a little bit. So we can go Control D, we can go simulation, and we can have more iterations. So bring that up to 6. We can smooth it out. Let's have 4, probably 10 in the damping to kind of make things feel a lot softer. And then we can have more collisions, say 3, 3, and the end pass on as well. Let's see what this does. So as you can see already straight out, it's calmed down all of those exploding polygons. Now what we're not seeing, because we haven't activated it, is the freeze. We need this to start and then we need it to grow across the character. So the way we do that is we click on freeze and we click on layer, and then we go to mode, grow, and then the radius I think we need to bring up, say something like 25, and the effect strength down to 20. So if we now try that again, we should get this effect to start to balloon, and then the character, as you can see, the yellow is gradually now expanding across, and it should go on to the other letters in a second. Yeah, it's starting to go on to the H-cellent, and it's bringing that in. It's pulling across the whole word now. So that's the kind of thing we want. We want this slow expansion across these letters. Now, we might want to add a little bit more creasing into here, perhaps, you know, just to make this look a little bit more organic and more like the muscle creases and folds and that kind of thing. So we can do that with surface here. With the vertex map, we could probably have a little bit more target length in there. Let's go 130. Maybe the overpressure, we could try dropping it down to 4. Let's just see. We don't want too many, like, it doesn't want to look baggy. It wants to look like it's increased nicely. but I'd quite like to be a few more wrinkles and creases in it once it's expanding. I think we're getting them now, look. We're getting these extra bits because we've added a little bit more material with the surface here, look, with the Vertex Map controlling the target length. If we just pause it there, you'll see, if I click on Vertex Map, look, you'll see it's really affecting where the yellow is, so it's being completely controlled by the Vertex Map here, look. But this bagginess is quite nice, I quite like that. Let's just let that continue. And as you can see, it only starts to move around and become cloth once it turns yellow, because again we're controlling that with the mix animation with the pins. You see, it's now turning to cloth at this point, but before that it's 100% pinned. So the Vertex Map is allowing it to release from this pin and it become cloth. Okay, and then it all just expands out. So that's quite a nice look. I quite like that. So let's add a couple of colours in quickly now. Incidentally, if you want to have all of these textures, so I've actually got some, let's just render this quickly. I just want to show you these materials on here. If you want this material that I've created for this, which is this nice kind of hexagon one that the Hulk had, I think a lot of superhero characters have, and also this kind of skin and all the lighting and these and the sound files as well, and videos and stills, and even the font that I've used. If you want all of those pieces, then there's a link below to my Gumroad where you can grab these for something like £2 or $2 or $3, that kind of amount of money. So if you just want that, that's below. So let's go back to the tutorial. So let's just put in a nice bright green like the Hulk would be proud of. Put that on the Hulk word. There we go. So we can start to get a bit more of a look now, because we want the clothes. Yeah, we want two colours. We want the Hulk there, and let's just choose a blue, something like this, that we're going to drop on the clothes. So let's work on that bit next. Right, so we've got that looking, I think you can play around with this, but I think that's really giving a really nice feel now, to how it inflates and how it moves across and how it's got the nice creases. So now we add the clothes layer onto it. So let's just drop on the blue onto clothes, and let's switch on the clothes. So as you can see, at the moment the clothes are not doing anything and you can't see them. They're kind of on the same level. Now we can change all that. If we just click on, or right click on clothes, and we add simulation cloth. And what we want to do now is we want to look at the collider sides of these two objects. So the clothes will collide on the back to the front of the Hulk word. Okay, let me just explain what that means in case it didn't make sense. Just here that we've got collider side. At the moment it's set to both. So this bit here, this blue word, the clothes, are going to try and collide with both sides of this geometry, which is the back, which is the other side of this, and then the front. It's going to try and collide with both and get itself a little bit messed up. It's going to be more calculations required. So what we do is we say we want the green part, the Hulk word, to collide with the back of this, the inside. So we click here where it says back. And then if we go back to the word, the Hulk cloth tag, that's set here to front. Look. So the front of that Hulk word will collide with the back of this text. So those two will now snap into position when we press simulate and press go, and they will assume their right position. So one will snap onto the outside and the other one will push it from the inside. So at the moment, let's just see what actually happens. We've added on cloth. We haven't really changed any settings here at the moment. The only thing we probably need to change is tearing, because at the moment it will just expand. Let's just see what it does. Let's see if it just expands with it. Just let that play. I'll do this and it'll probably not work. There we go, look. So what's happening is it's just like I said, it's snapping. The word Hulk is now expanding. If I just turn that off, you'll see underneath that word is expanding, and it's the front of this green is colliding with the back of this geometry on the clothes, right? So there's no intersections. It's working lovely because the two are just working lovely. If I put that to both, and we put this one to both, and then we run it. Sometimes it's worth seeing if things don't work as well. Just want to see what this does. It's probably going to take longer to do because there's more calculations it's going to try and do to get this, and it may not even work. There may be too many colliders and we might get a warning message. Yeah, well, I hope it doesn't lock. Oh no, there we go. Let's see if we can escape out of this, because it's obviously working overtime to try and get this to look. And as you can, well, as you right, that's it. We've stopped it, thank God. Sometimes that happens and it crashes and you've got to start again. As you can see, it's got itself in a mess. It's trying to collide with both sides of the polygons at the same time, and you're getting all of this. Now you might like that pattern for certain things, but it's the computer not knowing what to do. It's confused. So we have to make sure that we set these collider sides correctly. So the Hulk wants to be front and the close want to be back, and then they will work quicker and they will work as you'd expect them to. Make sure, very important part there, that collider side. So there we go, it's expanding lovely, it's pushing the cloth up. So what can we do to make this rip? Right, quite simply, this is the fun part. We go back onto cloth, we go down here where it says tearing, and we click on cloth tearing. Let's do tear past at about 120%. Now we need to put in the vertex map, because we're going to influence the way this tears with this original vertex map, which is doing the expanding. Okay, so why not have it tear where it's already inflating and expanding? So all we need to do is drop that vertex map into here. So I think 45 on the tear guiding will be okay. That just really influences how it tears, you know, the kind of style that it will tear and how quickly it will tear. So I think 45 is okay. What else do we need to do? Is there any other changes here? There's no other. I think, well, no, yeah, let's just try it, but there is some things we need to do. I want to add some cloth thickness and different things to the cloth, and I'll show you why in a second. So, right, so let's just see when we get this to tear. Here we go. Look at that. Let's just let it go. Right, let's pause it here. I want to show you. All right. Look at that, straight out the gate, not really done much. It's ripping straight out of there. Absolutely lovely effect. Okay, and we haven't really done much to that. We've literally just said 10 on bendiness, and then the vertex map and 120% on cloth tearing, and it's already giving you that effect straight out as it's expanding. Really good. Now this cloth is a little bit thin. We maybe want this to look a little bit more stringy and a little bit more like cloth, rather than just some blocks of segments. So what can we do? Right, so if we go onto cloth and we use this new sorry, in the wrong part there, we use this new one called Thicken. I really like this, and we drop the close under the Thicken. Okay, so now it's put 10 centimeters of thickness onto there, which is far too much. So let's drop that down to like 0.5, just so we've got this little tiny bit of thickness on there, but it just gives enough for it to have 3 dimensions on the cloth thickness. Now let's add something that makes this look even better, because at the moment they're quite square. We want these to look a little bit more thread-like and more organic looking. So what we can do is we can stick all of this into a volume mesher. We drop the Thicken underneath the mesher, and now the secret weapon is under the objects here. There is the smoothing. Right, if we drop smoothing under the mesher, look. I mean, I love that. Now there's a lot of control here on the smoothing. If we go to smoothing, we've got iterations 10, the stiffness is 30. If we bring the stiffness up, it will bring the cloth back, so it's not quite as skinny, and then we can bring the somewhere there, I would say, but you put that to where you want it, because this really does make the difference having these volume meshes and smoothing on. If you turn them off, you know, there's chunky squares breaking up, and if you turn it on, there's thin fibers, and we've got control now over the edge of this. We could say we've got a material here on the outside, and then we can affect the edges with a different color material. So I'll just show you that quickly. Look, if we go on to thicken and we go on to object, we've got the shell, which is the thickness that you see here, and then you've got the start cap and end cap, which is the front and the back. So we can literally drop materials onto these three parts of this very easily. So if we just create another color like white, and we can say, right, the thicken, and we go to selections now, and then we can tick these polygons, and it will give us a little reference polygon to where we can drop these, where we can reference these colors. So the shell is referenced PB, so we can drop white onto the thicken there, and we can look for PB here and drop it on there, and that will just apply it to the edges. Well, it will if we put all the colors on the thicken. So we need to take the green off of the word Hulk and put it on the thicken, and then we need to say for the thicken we want to drop. Let's just go back to thicken and get our reference. So the start cap is PS and the end cap is PC, so it would be one of those two depending which way round we're looking. So yeah, PS or PC, which will be one of these. So let's drop in PS. Ah, it must be PC, which is the other one, that one. Is it PC? Oh, it's not changed. Ah, we've still got it on the close. Sorry, I've taken it off the wrong word, haven't I? Let's put the green back on the Hulk. I'm using the wrong colour in the wrong place, so we need to put the blue on the thicken, not the green. There we go. Oh dear, it's early. I'm doing this early today rather than in the evening. Bear with me. Right, so as you can see, we've got, right, let's try, yeah, I mean we've got it on the edge, but we could also put it on the back. So we could put another white in the scene, and then we could say, let's just go back here again and check. So we've got the start cap is PS, so this one we could say, let's drop PS onto that one. All right, so now we're going to have white on the back, white on the edges, okay, and blue on the face. And what that does is, obviously it just looks, you know, when you start to use materials like I've done in my original one here, with textures on them and bump maps on them and stuff like that, this, you know, look at this, these threads here and stuff like that, and it's just popping and breaking out. It's gonna start to look really nice now. Oh, hang on. Let's just play that through again. It's obviously we've just lost our jumping scenes there. It's just lost our dynamics, so we're just going to have to let that run again. But it's not a bad thing to watch it play again. Let's just see what we have. So it's going to snap. See, if you see it like this and then we press pause, pressing pause gives you the actual look. Now if you want to see it as it goes, I think this is how it works. You could press Control D, go to scene, and then we say simulate before generating, before generators. And then if we press play, I think it's going to give you the effect as you see it. So it gives you the, there we go, look. So you've not got to wait for it on the pause. But I think you'll agree, look at that effect with that tearing. That is awesome, right? Really good. And it's spreading across to the other letters because it's following the vertex map. It's literally following this yellow. If we turn off the, let's just turn off the close for now, if we can do that quickly. Probably can't now. There we go. Look, it's following this vertex map, isn't it? So wherever this yellow is expanding to, these splits are going to be exactly in the same place because we've said on the cloth to use the vertex map on the tearing. Okay, if we don't put that in there, it will just tear randomly. You know, it may tear at some point, but it's not going to tear, you know, controlled like this. So make sure you set it up in that way. So I think you'll agree. It's a really nice effect. You can use these threads of ripping on all sorts of different words. You know, you could use this for your business, couldn't you? About, you know, prices getting bigger, you know, things expanding, sale, massive sale, ginormous sale. You know, use some big words, nice thick typefaces that I'm going to, you know, include below in my Gumroad, and use this for promotions that you could have about big things. You know, especially if you've got anything Hulk related, you know, that you're doing, this will be really, really nice for that. So hope that's helped. If you've got any questions on this technique, leave them in the comments below. Give me a like, give me a subscribe. It all helps with my algorithm and gets me sitting here longer doing tutorials, because YouTube then like me and then I like YouTube more. Simple as that, really. Right, my name is Mike Jones from Visual Animation. Take care. Goodbye for now.